Hello everybody, today I'm going to be talking to you about Kimberly Harrison's How to Be a Great Student. So I recently read the book on Kindle. It's actually free if you get the free trial for Kindle. I'll make sure I leave a link down below. But for everybody that's trying to ace class and actually get all A's and level up, you don't have to be Asian like this guy talked about in his video. It's very, very simple. It's all about making sure that you're planning and already putting in those steps and those habits to make sure that you become the student of your dreams. So the first thing she talked about is planning. Being a great student doesn't just start in the classroom. It starts with your mindset. Making sure that you're setting goals for yourself and that you get everything, your entire space ready for you to be a great student. She talked about purchasing stress balls for tests, making sure you have a space in your home that you can dedicate to just being a student, whether that's inside of your room, having a desk with a lamp, having, a space to put your books in your backpack, whatever's for you. Make sure you cultivate that habit and you can actually embody being a student with a space in your home. And that for those people like me that share a room, you're not able to 100% dive into being a student, even kind of having, just having a space for your books or just having a space where you can not be in your bed, that is just ideal. So I kind of use my dining room table and I have a few things there, and then in my room I have a space I have my suitcase, I have all my books in there, and I'll have highlighters and things and also over there too. So doing your best to cultivate these habits by first having, a space for you is ideal. She also talked about having binders or folders for each of your classes. So when you start your classes, usually the teacher will go over the syllabus, and you should also be aware of that as well. But they'll give you sometimes handouts and also giving you your work back by printing it off. Some teachers are more online than others. I also noticed that. So there's two ways you can do this. You can first create a binder or a folder just for that one class. So you have 5 classes. You can write on that binder or write in that folder the class name, and that's how you would do that. I will show you guys actually an online way you can do this if your class is more digital. We're coming into 2025 and a lot of our classes are that, and also if you're an online student, it may be online as well. But you want to have a copy of all of your assignments, so if anything goes wrong, like if your teacher tells you like, hey, I didn't get your assignment, you can have that version. And also for tests, you can also have all the assignments and worksheets for yourself. So to do that, you want to use Google Drive. Google Drive is your best friend. You can save all of your documents to your computer and upload it to a folder on Google Drive. If you guys are interested in that, like I said, I'll see if I can put a clip into this video. But if not, leave me a comment and I'll be sure to make you a video of how I'm doing that for my college classes. And yeah, so once you create a binder and create a space for each of your classes in a folder or any type of online sharing way, you want to use a planner. Get yourself a planner. Get a planner. I talked about this in my other 2 videos about planning, but it is so imperative for you to create yourself some sort of space where you're keeping track of the day, so you're able to backtrack, which we'll talk about that in our next part. But backtrack and know, okay, my test is this day. What days I need to be first studying for my test, getting in that space that I'm going to be creating a test. Maybe your teacher asks you to do an assignment before the test. You need to use a planner. Get a physical one if you can. I really highly recommend you guys getting a monthly one that has the weeks and also the months. I use a couple of them. You can get them from, like I said, a drugstore, from Walmart, from Target. Target has some nice ones, but just get you a planner and make sure that you're writing down every single time an assignment comes up, you write it down. And the next thing she talked about is getting a notebook or some way to take notes. And if you can print off a pre-made Cornell sheet. I'll discuss that in the next part, but it's very important for you to have a space like a notebook, a binder, also to write your notes. But come to class with a pencil and a pen and a piece of paper. Don't go empty-handed and expect the teacher or other students to always give you things. You need to be on point and make sure that you're also writing your stuff down and creating notes. So our next part, how to actually ace class. So after you plan, you have your space, you have your binder, you have your notebook, you are in the right mindset, you have goals, you're ready to tackle it. How do you actually ace class? What's the action of actually acing class? So by planning alone, you've already done the majority of the work, because by you already creating those spaces for your assignments and also the space in your home for yourself, you've already tackled the mindset part. Coming and actually acing it will be a breeze. So the first step she talked about is before your class, you actually need to go ahead and get familiar of the material you're going to be learning. So whether that's you actually reading the textbook, if the teacher has any videos for you to watch for that week. For my college classes, we use this thing called Blackboard, and they'll post like videos, couple videos to talk about. Some teachers actually use more resources than other ones, so it just depends on the teacher. But if you can kind of get already in the mindset of, okay, what am I learning this week, or what am I learning tomorrow? So that way when you come into the classroom, you already can have an idea of what you're going to be learning, which can help you better when you take notes, and you won't be completely clueless when you walk in. So before you actually step foot in that classroom, you want to make sure that you're reading your textbook and understand that your textbook is not a storybook. She actually have a whole chapter going over how to read a textbook. It's wonderful. I love the analogy she gave. She said it's kind of like when you go into a new town. You first want to understand and get directions of like, where am I going? Where are the street signs? You want to first get acquainted with the space, and you don't do that by just reading every single line. So you first want to understand, okay, what is the table of contents? What is this book talking about? And then once you get into the chapter, what is a chapter talking about? Read the headers, look at the pictures. Don't just start reading, you're just mainly glancing over each thing. Then you will go back after you look at the pictures, after you look at all your stuff, like what is this actually talking about? And you will write notes. So when you write notes about your textbook, again, Kimberly uses Cornell notes, and so what she'll do is she'll write down notes, and not everything word for word. She does not use highlighters. She talked about how highlighting doesn't really work, and a lot of people actually over highlight. You only want to highlight if it's something just very imperative you kind of want to put in front of your eyes. But for the majority, you just want to have a pen and paper, and you're just going, or a pencil, and you want to just write notes on what you're reading. So actually during class, you want to be 100% present. Get a good night's sleep. Make sure you eat yourself some breakfast. You get yourself some exercise if you can. But you want to be 100% there. Not on your phone, not reading the textbook because you didn't understand what it meant. You want to actually be there to actually look at the teacher and understand what they're talking about. So she talked about making sure that you're putting your notes in your own words, using abbreviations, because Cornell Notes goes over the cues, the notes, and the summary. So what you want to do is you basically just want to pay attention in class of the lecture and actually be taking notes while the teacher is teaching. And that's it. That's literally it. After class, you want to use the Pomodoro technique where you're actually studying. Because studying really consists of you trying not to forget the information. A lot of people talk about the forgetting curve and how once you learn something in like less than a day, you'll forget it. So make sure that however the way that you learn, if you're a visual learner, if you're an auditory learner, if you're a kinesthetic learner, that you are actually testing yourself constantly. And you only want to test yourself so you can understand what you need to learn. And your test is about the cell structures. And you have to learn the mitochondria, the cell wall. You don't want to be learning the mitochondria if you already know what it is, you already know what it does. So you want to take advantage of tests inside of your textbook. You want to take advantage of Kahoots if you have pre-made Kahoots, pre-made Quizlets, pre-made quizzes, whatever you can get your hands on, assignments, pre-test yourself, or even make the test. She talked about that also in her book. You can make yourself a test by just reading over questions that you were giving in your assignments and just making sure that you're writing down like, hey, how can I put this into question format? And then you want to take your test. You don't want to time yourself. You just want to take it and just see, okay, what don't I understand? You also can use, she talked about in her book, the Feynman technique. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I'll put it on the screen. But it's all about teaching someone the information or making a presentation about the information and just seeing what part are you making too elaborate? What part are you making too ambiguous and not really being very straightforward? You can also use ChatGPT to create yourself like a pre-test if you want. There's a lot of resources out there. I'll see if I can link some down below that I've used personally. But you just want to make sure that you're only learning what you don't know. Don't learn things that you already know, even though it feels good. Only test yourself on what you don't know. So when the test comes up, you're 100% ready for the test. So when it's time for testing, she also discussed about how people don't like multiple choice questions, but how she went over is basically when you take a test, Don't walk out of the class as soon as you finish a test. Use the entire allotted time. That way, first, you're just gonna go through and read the stuff and just start answering it, but make sure make sure you don't second guess yourself. He talked about answer it like you know how to answer it, and then go back over the ones that you don't really know. And she talked about how choosing just the one that seems the next best thing. Ask yourself, what is this trying to tell me? Because a lot of times questions will have cues in it. See if you can go over the questions after you've done your first sweep of just answering what you already know. And you want to go ahead and ask yourself whatever's similar to what you've learned. And then you just want to go ahead and use a technique. I learned this actually in my an ACT seminar, where the lady talked about how if you don't know an answer, one, make sure you give an answer to everything, because you definitely miss points. But even if you get it kind of right there, you can at least get you a partial point. So if you don't know, pick a question that you already don't know. Go ahead before you take the test and pick a letter A, B, C, D, or E. And every time you don't know that answer, just pick that one, because eventually one of them will be right. And then are improving in our repeat part. Understand, guys, that college, although it's not really necessary in 2024, professional jobs require these professional degrees for a minimum requirement. So a lot of people actually talk about what is the importance of going to college. It just depends on what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish. Just certificates might not get you where you want to go. So college is not for everybody. However, for a lot of professional degrees, you may need it regardless. With the forgetting curve, go to summer school. A lot of people actually talk about how they had, retreats they go to after school. But those two-month period in America that we have, where we don't do anything, take advantage of that and actually go to summer school. Even if you don't, take a few classes. In college, take a few classes in summer. And if you can, use the same assignments that you were given in your classes, and try to continue to test yourself on those things and understand what you don't know, so that you can continue to sharpen your mind. Don't let go of information just because you're done with the class or you're done with the test, because a lot of times midterms and finals will bring back up old study material or old concept that you learned, like maybe in your first month of school. So it's important for you to understand that even after you take a test, that isn't everything. Use the teacher's office hours if you don't understand something or you want to clarify on something. They're paid to be at the school during those office hours to answer your questions. Email them, ask them, hey, can I come talk to you? I didn't understand the test. If once you get your test back, for example, and you don't like the grade that you were given. And she also discussed about, don't forget that your brain, you are the boss. You are the boss. Already once you plan, you are putting in your mind that I am the boss. If you want to remember something, tell your brain that. Remember this, blah, 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 and then just start saying the other stuff. Don't give yourself be confident in yourself and tell yourself whenever you want to remember something that you are in control. After school, after the test, you improve by having that confidence in yourself and having the mindset of an A student, which is, I'm getting this A, and I'm getting this A by doing all the steps that we talked about in our Ace the Class part of the video. So she also talked about her final thing is, if all else fails, write it down. Cornell notes. I can't stress this enough. Be very imperative and tell yourself all the time, like, I want to remember this, and also write it down, especially if you're a kinesthetic learner. It's important for you to understand yourself and be confident in yourself so you can get the grades that you want. So if you don't know Kimberly Harrison, she has her channel, I think it's 𝒆𝒃𝒂𝒈𝒆. I don't know how to pronounce it, but her programming videos on like Python and creating classes, I really love those videos. Go check her out. But her book is like, I'm telling you guys, it's 10 out of 10. I'm so glad I read it when I did. As a tutor, definitely, but even for myself, being a student at my college and trying my best to, get the grades that I want. I really highly recommend you guys to read it. Like I said, I'll leave it down below in the description box. If you have any questions or anything that you want to let me know, leave a question mark down below in the comments and I'll respond back as fast as I can. Thank you all for watching my video. Toodaloo.